just wanted to keep Allison in because they know Allison is going to go after you, me, Kaiser, or this.
Doesn't help how he's bad mouthing Nokomis right now in front of Jace.
Just know that this is the happenings of the house.
And now how... What does Marcellus know all this stuff?
I don't know if... I don't know. I honestly don't know. I honestly don't know. All I know is that Marcellus really wants Danielle out, and I can respect that. You know, I want Allison out. He wants Danielle out.
I want Allison out.
I know you do.
It just doesn't make sense, though, Erika. Why... Like, when you're...
What doesn't make sense to you?
Okay. Because... the guys came up or whatever, and they were like, oh, well, they were like, Danielle's making this plan, oh my God.
Right, right.
Then Jace walks in, he's like, Danielle. Okay, and then Allison, see, that's why I don't believe it. Allison walked the hammock with him, and she was like, this is the plan, blah, 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 blah. We have enough votes. If he was in with them, he would have disagreed with my nominations. So
he would have, wait.
She took him to the hammock and she was like, look, Jace.
Who took him to
Allison.
Took Jace to the hammock and said.
She said, I've got Diane, Nokomis, Chicken George, Mike Boogie, and Will, and myself. We will all, and Danielle, we will all vote to evict Danielle if you disagree with her nominations. Okay? And Jace was like, I saw them talking in the hammock, and he was like, no. He's like, I'm not going to do that, whatever. He came right up here, and we talked about it. And I was like, oh, my God, so what did she say to you? And he's like, she was in on the whole thing, too, I guess. And I was like, really? He's like, yeah. I was like, well, fuck. And he's like, why don't we just put up Allison and Danielle? And I'm like, okay. Like, it was his idea. And when he said that, I was, like, thinking to myself, hell yeah, I want Allison got way more than Danielle.
Well, then, I honestly, I don't know why.
I was just kind of walking on eggshells with Allison because I didn't know if...
But I will say that it could be a great ploy because, you know, there had to be another person up on the block. And she, of his alliance, is probably the most disposable because she's not liked.
Right.
So, now, you know, like... I don't know, my gut says that there's something there.
There's something fishy going on.
I know that the Mr. and Mrs. Smith thing is for sure.
Well,
I mean,
here's the thing.
That's what I've heard. I mean, like, everyone in the house seems to know about that alliance anyway, you know, and then I heard that...
Does Danielle know about that alliance yet?
I have no idea. The thing is, we don't have to let Jace know that there's anything wrong, you know, because we can, you know, use Jace at some point. So, we like Jace.
I do too.
So it's not, you know.
It seemed like, just from my instincts alone, that he was like, he like, Jace to me seemed like he wanted to do whatever I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. Do you know what I mean?
Sure.
He didn't really have,
Right. Well, no one wants to be the bad guy, really.
Yeah, and so he let me be the bad guy. He was just like, whatever you want. And I was like, okay.
Right.
Like, I might as well go after Allison rather than Danielle. But I wasn't going to be like, oh, let's put Allison and Danielle up, because there was no reason to put Allison up at that point. Besides that, I didn't know if Allison and him had an alliance. I was being very careful.
Right.
Because he could have disagreed with my nominations if I would have said Allison.
Yeah, well, I'm sure if you... I'm telling you, my instinct says that they're in together. And I'm not. I don't know. I could be totally wrong, but I mean, let's just keep him at, you know, we'll keep him in the loop. And
if Allison doesn't leave tomorrow or Thursday,
we're screwed. It's you and I if she gets it, but who knows? She's got to go. I'll talk to Chicken George tonight.
I'll just go to Danielle and be like, get Chicken George's vote.
I think we have Will and Boogie. They just felt really odd. Like, Boogie came up to me, he's like, who are you voting out? And I'm like, Allison. He's like, really? He's like, why
Because they're trying to get you to vote out Danielle, that's why.
But then, and then he was like, well, he's like, the HOHs aren't saying anything to us, you know, about who to vote for. He's like, Janelle hasn't said anything to us about like who we should vote for. And I'm like, that's when I went. You were here up with, that's when I came and peeked my head in. Jace was sleeping. You were there. I wanted to talk to you about that. Oh. And I was like, all right, fuck, I'll go talk to Kaser. I took Kaser aside and I'm like, you gotta go talk to Will and Boogie because they think they're out of the loop.
Right.
So now they're totally gonna, I bet they're totally gonna be voting Allison out because now they found out the tiebreaker is you and they're screwed.
Because why would that screw them anyway? Just because Danielle would know that they didn't vote for her?
No, because the whole house, okay. If they're all gonna play their cards, they're not gonna play their cards now. You know, if it was gonna be a close vote and I was the swing vote, they would have been like, let's do it, let's get out Danielle and sick Allison on you and Kaser. And I was like, you know, I'm just not gonna, I'm not with that plan. You know, I'm like, I'll think about it, obviously. And then.
Did they ask you about that?
Yes.
Boogie did?
No, Allison did.
Okay.
And then, and Boogie was like, well, what's, you know, like, who does Janelle want out? I'm like, she wants Allison out. We all want Allison out. She's a much more dangerous player, you know. She definitely has vendetta. She'll come after me. She'll come after Janelle. I'm like, I can't take that risk. I'm like, and plus she thinks I had something to do with her fucking nomination. I'm like, whatever. So.
She doesn't understand. Jace is the one. I would never have said it because I thought they had lines together. Mm-hmm. I thought Allison and frickin' Diane and him, the Mr. and Mrs. Smith. That's why I didn't say anything. If I would have said I'm after Allison, he would have been like, I'm disagreeing with your nominations. That's what I thought he would have said. Until he said,
if he was playing the game right, he could throw her up, you know, and say
like he thought maybe he counted and said, oh, we can put Allison as a pawn, but we'll get rid of Danielle.
Well, originally,
that's too risky for someone in an alliance.
No. Originally, we were all after Danielle.
Yes, I know. Until he said, let's put up Allison on the block, and I wanted her.
Right, and then he got nervous. He's scrambling. And that's why he's like getting Diane, Gomez. I think he tried to get Will, Boogie, Marcellus. That's why they came to me. They're like, obviously Kaser's not going to budge. Obviously Howie's not going to budge. They didn't know where James wants to keep Danielle because we all think he's got a secret alliance with her. So I'm the only option. That's why they came to me.
Allison came to you, not they.
Allison.
What did she say?
She was like, listen, she's like, oh, this thing. Diane came up to me. She's like, is Allison like, is she bugging you? Is she talking to you? And I'm like, no, she hasn't talked to me. And then I went up to her. I'm like, how come you haven't asked me? Just out of curiosity, I'm like, how come you haven't asked me for my vote? And she's like, well, because I think you hate me, and that you're behind my nomination. And I was like, whoa. I'm like, what? Yeah. And I'm like, well, first of all,
you can already tell she's pissed off.
I know, and I'm like, oh fuck, well, she's crazy, Janelle. That's why you can't leave her in this house.
I don't want to. Can you tell?
Yes. Okay, so then I was like, I had like a long conversation with her. I'm like, listen, I'm like, I don't hate you. And even with all the like hashing of Big Brother 4, and I'm like, I don't hate you. I'm obviously heard from a lot of the shit that you talked about me and blah blah blah. And she was like, listen, she's like, if I stay in this house, I won't go after you. She's like, but everyone knows I'm after Janelle. And then, that was it. But that's nothing new. You already know that. She's going to come after you. You put her up, she's going to go after you. That's how Allison operates. So she thinks that I had something to do with her nomination. I'm sure. I don't know who could have told her that.
Did you have anything to do with it? You didn't, did you?
No.
You weren't even in here. He was like, Allison. I was like, okay, yeah.
He's playing.
And I didn't say anything. I think I even said, yeah, we'll still go after Danielle because I wanted her on the block. Mm-hmm. I wanted Allison on the block. I did. And I wanted to
well, maybe that's why he was like, okay, cool. They're all after
Danielle. Because we were. Well, I gave him the impression that
right.
Kaser, Howie, and James were after Danielle.
I knew that. I was curious. I'm like, I know the vote will be unanimous now. The vote will be unanimous to evict Allison because they don't have the votes. So they're
Unless they get Chicken George.
they don't have Chicken George. They don't have Chicken George. I'll talk to Chicken George tonight.
I'm just gonna go ask Danielle and be like, look, can you get fucking Chicken George's vote?